boat, view the St. Louis, Missouri skyline here from Mississippi River, between the state of Missouri and Illinois. I see the Hyatt Regency. I see the Hyatt Regency.
Okay, we're over to your left right now. You see our parking lot where no cars parked today, just because we do have a lot of debris in the way, so cars can get over to the side of the parking lot. But on a good day when the river's not so high, you can park about maybe 10 or 12 cars in each row. Like I said, today you can't park any in the spot today. Now, the water came up about a week ago, and it kind of covered all that
Why there's a
parking.
log?
Then the water started to drop off. And as the water dropped off, it left a lot of debris behind, such as these trees, logs, twigs, and little trash. Now, we're supposed to keep falling over the next few days, and probably by the end of the month, we'll see the rest of that parking lot. Back in 1993, the water crossed that street to our left, made to the arch grounds up to the 33rd step. Today's a plaque at 33rd step, which shows you where the water topped off. Now that would put water about halfway up that stairwell. Today on the gate, St. Louis have a stage about 17.6 and falling. That is going to put about 29 feet of water underneath the Tom Sawyer right now. Today we have a current of about 6 miles an hour. That's about 3 miles below the average speed. Now you will find the deepest part of the river down south in New Orleans at Algiers Point. Down there, Dutchess Snapper depth about 214 feet deep.
There is the U.S. Bank Thompson Court. Hilton Hotel, I see there. Peabody logo.
The document to our left belongs to the Gateway Helicopter Tours. There are helicopter rides around the St. Louis area 7 days a week.
Gateway Helicopter Tour.
About sunset. Those tours about 5 to 15 minutes long, and it costs between $50 to about $190.
Time in the shade.
If you look to your left right now, just about the street level, you can see a statue. It's a statue of Lewis and Clark. The statue weighs about 2.5 tons, stands about 23 feet tall. It depicts Meriwether Lewis, William Clark, and their biblical companion dog, Seaman. The statue was originally installed just south of the East Bridge and dedicated back September 2006 to celebrate the bicentennial of Lewis and Clark return from their 1804 expedition. Now, since then, however, safe of statue submersion flood waters result in corrosion and water damage. So statue was removed and incorporated to arch grounds improvements. It now sits on lands about 200 feet south and higher from its original location. The spot set before us just ahead of us, off to our left-hand side. Just right there by that next bridge pier on the bank.
Traffic Kings
It also sat about another 20, 30 feet closer to the river's edge. Now, had that statue been in the same spot today, there's a good chance that statue would be covered by water. The first bridge ahead of us is called the Eads Bridge. It's a combined road and railway bridge connecting St. Louis to East St. Louis, Illinois. The bridge named for designer and builder James B. Eads. When complete in 1874, it's the world's longest steel archband bridge, with the opening of about 6,442 feet. These steel archbands were considered daring, as used as steel's primary material structure. That's the first such true use of steel in a major bridge project. It was also the first bridge to be constructed using campus support method and to make dramatic caissons. The Eads Bridge caissons, the one deepest ever sunk, were responsible for the first major outbreak of caisson disease, but known as bends or decompression sickness. Now, about 14 men lost their lives building this bridge. On June 14th of 1874, John Roberts led a test elephant on a walk across New Eads Bridge to prove that it was safe. A large crowd cheered as the elephant tried to circus number towards Illinois. It was believed that the elephants had instincts which would not let them walk foot on unsafe structures. And 2 weeks after that, Mr. Eads hired 14 locomotives to go back push across the bridge to prove that it was stable. It passed that test, also passed the test of time, as the bridge is still standing in use today. They had renovated the bridge, they painted the superstructure, replaced the rail deck, and also did some road work to the top deck. That project cost about $48 million. The lower rail deck today is now being used by light rail system on the Metrolink. You might see a light rail car come across this bridge here in just a few moments.
There's a Horseshoe Casino Hotel on the left.
Now, between these two bridges to our left, we have an area known as Cleves Landing. If you want to get a good idea what St. Louis looked like about 100 years ago, this would be a good place to start. Most of these buildings date back to about the late 1800s, early 1900s. Some of the buildings have been renovated to Pierce-Deer Project in 1935. Inside the lane, you find anything such as nightclubs, bars, restaurants, shops, and lofts. Now, look behind the Cleves Landing to your left, you can also see a large dome building. That's the Dome at America Center, placed here back in 1995, and it can seat about 70,000. It was once called the TWA Dome and the Edward Jones Dome, and that was home to the St. Louis football Rams. You may recall the Rams left St. Louis a few years ago to go back to Los Angeles. Today, the domes are being used for concerts, conventions, and other sporting events. And they do have a new football team inside the dome. They're the St. Louis Battlehawks for the NFL Football League.
Catch or call?
The bridge above our heads is called the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Highway Bridge. It's formerly known as Veterans Bridge, dates back to about 1951. Until 1843, this location of the bridge.
And this is the Four Seasons Hotel.
University in St. Louis. This is mapped out by our city's founder, Peter McLeod, back in 1764. This bridge will be called a Kensington-style bridge, and it does span some 4,010 feet. Look over to your left, we have these 3 objects standing in the water. These are called mooring sails or dolphins. These used to tie boats off to. Now they once belonged to this dock to the left. That was the dock for the former excursion boat and Casino the Admiral. That closed back in 2010. Now they had built another casino to replace it. On top of the hill to the left, we have the Horseshoe Casino. This seems built at least 2 hotels attached to it. Maybe a small shopping mall inside of it. And there's also a tunnel that goes from the casino over to the Dome in America Center. By Missouri state law, all casinos have to be floating in river water. That casino on the hill is no exception. Now what they did was they dug a large basin on top of that hill. They filled that basin with river water and placed a casino inside of it.
You see the building? Right there. You see the
Now look over to your right towards the Illinois Bank. We have these barges tied off. These are called jumbo hopper barges. They're the most commonly used barge in rivers today. Each barge is about 195 feet long to about 35 feet wide. When loaded, they can carry about 1,500 tons of cargo or 5 times their own weight. First set of barges to our right are empty barges, drawing about maybe a foot of water. You can see how high they sit when there's nothing inside of them. But the next set of barges to our right are loaded barges, drawing about 9 feet of water. You can see how low they sit when they're fully loaded. And those barges are loaded with grain and cement. Now they are being held together by cables, chains, and ratchets. And throughout the day, they have small harbor tugboats come to check the fleets to make sure not decking are sinking, or they need to ship these barges from one fleet to the next. Now sometimes they get a bunch of those barges together and they have a large tugboat come in and push them around. Look way ahead of us right now at that next bridge there. You can see there's a large tugboat out there with about 15 of those jumbo hopper barges headed up the river. On board that boat, they have a crew that consists of a captain, a pilot, first mate, second mate, chief engineer, his assistant, 4 deckhands, and a cook. They work the shift out 6 on, 6 off every 24 hours for the next 28 days. Now these large tugboats can't push more than 15 barges in a tow. They can push about 40 barges. That could stretch out to be a quarter mile long to about 7 acres wide.
No, thank you.
What is this building? This is Union Light and Power Company. Union Electric Light and Power Company. This is Union Electric Light
The
and
building out to
Power
our left here is known as the
Company.
William H. Ashley Power Plant. Placed back in 1902 to supply electricity in 1904 World's Fair. That World's Fair was held in St. Louis on the city's west side in an area named Forest Park. That's about 6 miles off to our west. Now this fair was credited for being the first lighted fair. It was also credited the other first, such as first ice cream cone, first hot dog, and first glass of iced tea over Surge American Public. The station does still produce electricity and also produces steam, and that steam is used in heat mills downtown St. Louis. At the same time, they had the World's Fair in Forest Park. Right across the street, they had another event. It was the 1904 Olympic Games held at Francis Field, just behind Washington University.
Like how many times does the plane pass by during the river boat cruise? It seems like the plane is landing from another location and expected to land in St. Louis within about 5 to 15 minutes. What is this bridge? This is on Interstate 70.